Good day, everyone. This is John Scarborough. Wanted to do a walk around today, show y'all real quick the results of what the goats did in this little area that we had them fenced off in. We fenced them off in this spot for a little while. I don't know exactly the amount of time. I'll have to look it up and find out exactly how long it was. But I'm just going to do a little walk around and show y'all everything that we've got here. As you can tell, it's pretty impressive. And honestly, it happened quicker than I expected it to. You can go back in those original videos. I mean, I don't know that you could even see inside of these trees or anything. They really cleaned that up. You could barely see this tree right here. Now this that's knocked down, I actually just cut those down with the chainsaw. They were standing up and it was cleaned all the way up underneath there. I took the chainsaw and laid those down. I was actually going to try to give the goats one more day and feed them, but then I realized that their water in the creek was actually starting to get low. So that's why we went ahead and took them out of here. Was actually because of the creek. Okay, the creek actually was getting really close to drying up, and that was last night. Just because we've had so little rain. We're in a drought now here. But anyway, I was glad that I pulled them out, because I came down here this morning after getting them out of here and the creek was completely dried up. So that's something I wanted to go on ahead and get them pulled out. But man, oh man, look at what they've done. One thing I really like about this, what they've done on the creek bank here, is like cattle, you put cattle on a creek bank, they will, unless of course you mob graze them, but if you put two cows, or even one cow, like I did the two goats in here, there would have been one trail, maybe two, and it would have been really heavily tore out. But you can tell, I don't know if you could see back in the other video, but they've actually slowly started to cut this off and slope this off. That sloping rather than a sharp cut right there is actually a really good thing for your creeks, because it allows the sunlight to get right down on there and allows the growth to come up, which holds your banks together. So one thing we're actually going to do, we're going to come in here and seed this with some summer grass. Throw some summer grass all out over this. We got a little bit of summer grass seed up there, and we're going to see if we can get it to come up now that it's been kind of beat up a little bit. Ideally, I would have come in here maybe a day or two before I took them out, just in order to let their hooves kind of work it into the soil. But we're going to give that a try and see what happens there. I'm going to keep walking around here. It is truly amazing, guys. Those goats would be climbing halfway up this tree right here, eating all of those vines. And so I actually could have left them in here. They were not starting to look hungry. So, I mean, once they start to look like hungry, once they start looking like they need more food, at that point is when I pull them out, regardless. Like, that's a cue of mine that I need to pull them out. Okay, so there's one of two things. You can pull them out at that point, and goats you can actually push really hard before they start to get hungry, because they can eat so many different things. Okay, but the other thing you could do is you could actually start to supplement their diet with a little bit of hay. So you could feed them some hay, and that would keep them from going hungry, but then they would continue to nibble at all of this green and all like that. There is a point where you're going to go too far, because the parasite load will start to build up. But right at first, as quick as they got this done, there was really no concern for parasites here, and I didn't have to worry about it at all. But it's just amazing to me what they've done here, the cleanup that they did. The one more thing that I wanted to say here, and I wish I would have gotten it on video, and I really didn't, was that the grass, they left that until very close to last. Like, I was coming down here every day, checking on them, checking the creek, making sure that it had water. Make sure if you're watering out of a creek like this, especially in the hot summer, that you keep an eye on that. It's your responsibility to those animals to not let them run out of water. If they run out of that water, goats and sheep, they're not as bad, but in this hot summer, you just don't want to take any chances. So make sure you keep an eye on that. But anyway, I would come down here every single day, and the grass would just be steadily growing. It was just like this right here. They would not hardly touch that grass until almost the last bit. So that's the awesome thing about goats versus any other animal, herbivore, is like if I put cows in here, for sure, we know for sure the grass would have gone first. okay? You would have had to just about starve the cows to death to get them to do this, short of them trampling it. They would have been able to do some trampling to make them eat like that. I mean, they would have been hungry. It's something you wouldn't want to do. And then if you put sheep in here, the sheep would eat a lot of the briars and things like that. They may not climb as high, but they would eat a lot of it. But they would also eat a lot of the grass as well. Eventually the grass would get worked down pretty low before they went this far, okay? But that's the beauty of the goats, is that we literally could see, if I would have pulled them out 1 to 2 days sooner, this grass would have still been tall. It would have still been tall and flourishing like that, okay? So the height that the grass would have been, like, it would just been amazing. Like, there would have been hardly any pressure at all on the grass versus a huge amount of pressure on the trees. And so why is this so awesome? Well, the amount of work that I would have had to do to get in here and clean this up is a lot of work. And I know, because I've had to do it. When I was a kid, guys used to hire me to come out and do stuff like this, but also on my own place. I have come out and cleaned up spots like this completely by myself, and it is a lot of work. I mean, you've got to have a weed eater, a blade on the end of a weed eater, then a weed eater, and you've also got to have a chainsaw, and it is a lot of work, okay? Whereas right here, now I can literally see everything. The vines are going to start to dry up. I can actually come in here and, you know, blade this over, but I can see exactly what's there. A lot of this will be fairly easy to clean out and blade over. I'm thinking maybe an hour's tops to clean this up. Now, it may be a little bit longer than that, I'm not sure. But I would be willing to bet it would take me a full day, if not 2 full days, to have cleaned this up manually by myself, okay? And, I mean, it would have been a lot of work. The main thing is that the work itself will be more pleasurable now. I can actually get in there. I'm not getting scraped up and beat up by vines. I can actually see and know that there's not snakes in there. That's a huge deal. So it's just a big deal to be able to put goats in here, make an income off of those goats, possibly make meat for your family off of those goats. You know, whatever it is that you're making. So you may have dairy goats, you know, get milk for your family off of those goats. It's a big deal to be able to do that while cleaning out an area and literally giving yourself less work to clean up an area. But then to factor in the fact that you're able to do all of that, and you're able to feed those animals off of solar energy that you couldn't feed to anything else. This is solar energy that was harvested that a cow would not come out here and turn into meat, okay? It's an awesome thing to think that we can feed that to a cow and turn that solar energy, all the grass, turn that solar energy into meat and into profit for our families, okay? But it's even more as awesome, well, it's at least the same amount awesome to think that now we can continue to do the same profit or the same amount of meat for our family while stacking another enterprise on solar energy that's continuing to be stacked, and do it in a way that doesn't, like we wouldn't have taken away from any cow here. There's hardly any grass at all that is going to be taken from this spot. Like a very small amount, a little bit of grass here. But we're actually, that's before you think about the dividend side, okay? The dividend side is, now this is actually going to be opened up to sunlight. We're actually going to increase the grazing, okay? So you get a very small amount of grass that is taken away. We could have actually pulled them off in time to where no grass would have been taken away if we wanted to, okay? But then now we're cleaning this up to the point that new foliage will begin to form. We'll actually be able to start getting grasses in there. And so in theory, you could actually increase the amount of grazing land for your cattle. And that's all without using any fossil fuels, any tractor, and hardly any income. And when you factor that into the fact that the only thing I had to pay for was the net. That net's expensive. But when you factor all those things together, it's really not all that much. And to me, it's definitely worth my money. So anyway, guys, very impressed with these results. Thank you all so much for watching all of this and for keeping an eye on the series. If you haven't seen any of the videos in the past that I put out on these goats in this spot. I've got multiple YouTube shorts, and I've also got a video of us setting up the wire. Go check all of that out on my channel, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.